Hey guys, it's Dusty Fines, and we are back with another one. So, I just had to talk about this on my channel. So, there's this creator called Emma Jean Tyrell. Emma Jean Tyrell. She and her husband own two Airbnb vrbo properties that they rent out to guests. She makes videos on cleaning, on restocking her Airbnb, and she talks about how guests leave the property and what they leave behind. She rubbed her audience a little wrong a couple of weeks ago. So let's start at the very beginning.
I got a $1,900 vrbo booking and I'm upset about it. The booking is for a week-long stay in the peak busy season, which is why it's for so much money. Obviously, at first I was very excited about this, but then I saw that the guest has a 1-star rating. It doesn't say why the previous host or hosts rated them 1 star. This guest also instant booked my place, so I didn't get a chance to say yes or no to them, because if I did, I definitely would never have accepted this stay. I contacted vrbo because I'm not comfortable hosting this guest. Like, why do they have 1 star? Not even 2 stars. 1. And vrbo basically said, too bad, so sad. And if I wanted to cancel this booking, I would have to pay vrbo 10% of the booking total, which in this case is $190, and they would move my listing to be lower in search results, so it would be harder for guests to find. I was flabbergasted that I would have to pay vrbo money just to cancel this. Like, that's kind of weird and shady to me. I've never attempted to cancel a booking before, so I don't know what's normal. I get them penalizing our ranking, but paying them to cancel it is weird. I want to take the penalty, but my husband does not. His logic is this Airbnb hasn't been performing well lately, so we could really use this booking, and he doesn't want to take the hit of getting ranked lower when bookings are already down, which I get, but 1 star? What would you do in this scenario?
So, this video didn't get too much flack. We'll read the comments a bit, but before I do that, let me give you my opinion on it. I understand being a little bit nervous, a little bit anxious about getting a 1-star guest coming in, but the thing that I probably wouldn't have been so anxious over if I was in her place is that this 1-star review has no details to it. And I would probably feel the level of anxious she was feeling if they were like, if it was in the description that, oh my god, she left my place a wreck, there were stains on the bed sheets, she left broken glass in the sink, she left wet towels on my bed, she left the door open, I have 10 stains on my rug. Like, I would understand that, but there's literally nothing. Absolutely nothing. This video is currently at 1 million views, and this was posted 2 months ago. She's keeping the booking, right? Because she doesn't want to pay. If you were that panicky, if you were that anxious, then cancel it. Have a serious talk with your husband. Like, you're not the one cleaning this, I am. I don't get running to the internet with these problems. And imagine you're that guest that just booked, because her page is low-key marketing for her Airbnb. You're getting close to $200. That's without the Airbnb guest leaving a tip. So you're getting close to $2,000 for this property that has been earning slow. I would not have brought this to the internet. Not everything needs to be a story time. Not everything needs to be talked about. And you're going to understand why. But let's first look at the comments of this video. One comment says, I would love for you to do an update after they leave, if they stay, to see how this all plays out, please. Then another person says, no matter how they leave the house at the end, leave a detailed and accurate review. That 1 star could be a single host with a grudge about something that wasn't even the guest's fault. Piggyback off of this comment, Airbnb and vrbo landlords are sometimes the most finicky. They will literally strike you down if you leave normal wear and tear on a house. Back to the comments. I would add a note to the booking to advise guests that any damaged/stolen items will be to their expense. If they trash the place, charge them for the extra cleaning. And I don't know how I feel about this, because we don't know why this guest got a 1-star review. It's just weird for people to jump to conclusions that, oh, it might have been damaged or stolen goods. When I'm hearing stories about Airbnb and vrbo, people get 1-star reviews for way less. And then someone says, make sure to do the check-in personally. No self-check-in. meeting eye to eye helps. And let's look at the replies to that. One person says, I thought with Vrbo you couldn't do that. I think that's an Airbnb thing. I could be wrong though. Someone says, yes, walk through, let them see you take photographs of each room at that time. Someone else says, I would also have your husband meet them too. It's actually really hard for humans to act out when there are two people present or making a presence known versus one-on-one. Then another person says, from the perspective of a guest, that would make me feel extremely uncomfortable, as though they're being monitored 24/7 when they paid out a lot of money. And I agree with the last comment. Someone says, I got hit with a 1-star because they expected a tip to be left on top of their cleaning fees, and that wasn't divulged till after I completed my stay. They told me to pay up the tip or get a 1-star review, so I didn't tip, took the 1-star and gave 1-star in return. Then someone has the same feeling as me. People commenting that you should show up every day to check in with them up front, but they deserve privacy as they are paying. So you know how that first comment that we read that they hoped for an update? She did give an update, and this is where she's getting most of her flack from.
Remember that $1,900 booking from the Vrbo guest with the 1-star review that I was so stressed about? I finally have an update. Recap, I didn't know why this guest had a 1-star review. It was their only review and there was no explanation. Obviously, I wanted to cancel this stay because I didn't feel comfortable hosting a guest that had one star review and no other reviews. But Vrbo told me that I had to pay them $190 to cancel this booking, and they would dock my listing so it would rank lower in search results. I decided to take the risk and not cancel the booking, knowing that's what I have insurance for, I guess, but I wasn't excited about it. She wasn't due to actually check in for a few months, so I was kind of just hoping and waiting that she would cancel for whatever reason. I even reached out to her at one point offering her to cancel because the pool wouldn't be available during her stay anymore. I had to message all of my guests this. I have a whole separate video on it, but she said no, that she wanted to keep the reservation, so I was like, dang it. But then the other day she randomly did cancel. She just said that her dates had changed, so I'm pretty stoked about that. No penalty for me and no 1-star guest. She did get a full refund because her booking is still far enough away, and I'm totally fine with that. I'm a little worried that there's a chance she saw my video on it because it did end up going a little bit viral. Anyway, that's the update. I never thought I would be so happy to have a $1,900 booking canceled. Remember that night?
So that was the update. Let's read the comment. One person said, if I was that guest, I would be making a new account so quickly. And then someone underneath that said, love how nobody's on her side for this. Rightfully so. It's literally a single one review. You can't judge a person based off of that. It would be a different story if they had many low reviews, but panicking over someone with only a single review is unhinged. Then another person said, LOL, I wouldn't be surprised if her bookings for this Airbnb decrease now too. Another person said, this is really the first series of videos I just wholeheartedly did not like from this creator. You don't know the other owner of the place she stayed at, and they didn't leave a review for you to read. You just assumed that it was the customer's problem, and you didn't even think it could be a picky owner over something as small as leaving a can in the fridge. Honestly, I'd be incredibly pissed off if anything like this happened to me, and I didn't get to say what happened. I'm kind of glad she canceled because it seems like you were going to find anything and everything wrong with the guest just because she has a 1-star. Another person says, personally, a 1-star review with no context makes me suspicious of the person who left it, not the person who received it. Imagine if this was her trying this again after a bad experience, only to find a video of the owner saying she wanted to cancel because she didn't want to pay the customer and she hopes the customer cancels themselves. Being cautious is one thing, but all this over a single 1-star review, even if it was the only review, seems harsh in my opinion. Someone says, after seeing that video, I canceled 2 upcoming Airbnb trips I had planned. I truly don't want that drama in my life. I'll go to a hotel. Then another person said, this whole scenario is like the Black Mirror episode where everyone judged everyone based on reviews. Yikes. Another person says, I get being panicked, but that also was not a very professional move to post a video about it, because if that person did see it, I can only imagine how embarrassing that was and/or upsetting. I would not want to stay at an Airbnb VRBO where the YouTuber calls out their clients like this, name or not. There's a lot of Airbnb VRBO hosts that do content just like Emma. I can totally imagine that this guest saw the previous video. Like, it doesn't take much to identify when someone's talking about you on the internet. Literally saying a $900 booking. If you look around the house, you're like, that's the house from the photos I'm renting from. And then you hear everything that Emma said, and you're like, I'll just go somewhere else. It's very, I'm not gonna pretend and sit here like, oh, I don't get why she was nervous a bit. Like, I get it, but all this hoopla over a 1 star that doesn't even have any description to it, it just seems so out of control. I get people believe that for content you have to play up, make things more dramatic than they really are, but don't do it at the expense of your business. Because I noticed that she's not just doing Airbnb videos now, but she's doing sponsored posts with Oura Ring. She's doing thrift store try-ons. She's doing testing bar recipes. So she's branching out there. I think she wants TikTok, YouTube, Instagram to be her main source of income, that she doesn't really have to rely on the Airbnbs. But this is just not the way to go about it. It's not 100% sure that she saw this video, but if she hasn't now, I think she soon will, because this video just on YouTube alone is at 951,000 views just alone on Shorts. So you can imagine how this video is performing on TikTok and Instagram. I completely understand why you'd be nervous over a 1-star guest coming over. I can understand that you didn't want to pay VRBO. I can understand that you not want to take the hit on search listings on VRBO. And I completely agree with the husband, because if your rentals bookings are decreasing, then you really need that $1,900 booking. And who knows, this woman, this guest, could have really enjoyed the house, cleaned up after herself, left the house in pristine condition, left a tip. But no, it feels like Emma talked herself right out of a $1,900 booking. But I'm going to say this, and I'm gonna, if Emma ever happens to fall upon this video, I'm going to say this, and I mean no disrespect. Not everything has to be posted on the internet. She panicked over one 1-star review that had no written explanation on what the guest did wrong. She has literally had people leave vomit and nasty stuff for her to clean. And this particular guest who vomited, missing the toilet, had 2 1-star reviews that left detailed reviews on how they left the place in shambles. But Emma had overlooked these reviews because they had other high-rated reviews. And we're going to pull up that video right now.
This is the worst condition a guest has left my Airbnb in a while, part 2. First of all, you're not gonna believe what I found in this nightstand. If you guessed a bag of pepperoni, you were correct. If you missed part 1, the main issue was that they clogged the dishwasher and the sink and burnt a bunch of food onto the stovetop. There was also something sticky on a lot of the surfaces, including the floors. I was stressing over how to rate these guests. I never leave bad reviews for guests because it makes me feel guilty, and I'm a people pleaser, okay? It's too stressful for me. Most of the time, guests leave the Airbnb great, and if they they don't, I just don't review them at all. In the 2 years I've been hosting, I've only ever once given less than 5 stars, and that's because those guests peed on the floor. But with this, I was like, I don't know, it seems unfair for the next host to not say something. So I did review them. I gave them a 5 in every category except for cleanliness. I gave them a 4. And this is what I wrote in their public review. But I also sent a private note explaining why I gave them that rating, which brought their overall rating down to a 4.5. I don't know if I was too kind or not kind enough. I feel like either way, people are gonna disagree with me. But anyway, all in all, it's really not that big of a deal. And if this is the worst condition that a guest has left it in a long time, it's still really not that bad. I've never given Airbnb guests this low of a rating. Let's start with the worst of the clean. They threw up all over this bathroom, on the walls, vanity, toilet, etc., with no attempt to clean it up. It seemed like they purposely did not aim for the toilet. They also put away a ton of dirty dishes in the cabinet, so of course I checked them all and washed them. They stole half the spoons and forks, which that isn't that big of a deal, but I do have a whole container of plastic silverware in the pantry. Like, why couldn't they have taken that instead? The bathrooms on the whole were just absolutely disgusting. And the worst part of the clean, the bathrooms are really the main reason why I left them such a bad review. I'm not sure what I can show on here or if you guys would like want to see how gross it is, so I didn't include that, but like, trust, it was nasty. I will say they did leave the bedrooms in fine condition. What was very confusing to me was this guest had a 5-star rating. I didn't look at their reviews when they booked because I saw the 5-star rating and I thought they would be great, but looking back on those reviews now, they actually have 2 horrible reviews from other hosts who experienced similar things that I did, so I have no clue why they still have 5 stars. I left a scathing review warning other hosts, but I did not charge any extra for this. I think I could have, but charging them extra isn't going to fix anything, and my concern was more about warning other hosts. I know they paid a cleaning fee, but vomiting all over the walls and leaving it in such disgusting condition is not acceptable behavior, nor is it covered by a standard clean.
And so the reason I'm showing you this video is because she was so anxious over this 1-star review with no description. Nothing. Nada. Not like a 1 sentence. They left the house unclean. Nothing. And so here's another video just showing, like, from her own words, that the Airbnb that this 1-star review booked is not performing well.
My Airbnb is in its flop era. So much so that I'm considering taking it off of Airbnb and just turning it into a long-term rental. At first, I just thought it was a rough off season, but now that we're heading into the busy season and bookings are still looking a little grim, I'm starting to get worried. My bookings are definitely the worst they've been in all 3 seasons, which is really confusing to me because my other Airbnb is just a few streets up the road and is doing great. The best year I've had so far. I keep having to lower the nightly rate and give these big last-minute discounts just to attract booking. I spent over like $3,000 trying to update the bedrooms here, and I got new photos taken. I was kind of hoping like maybe a refresh would attract more booking, but that actually hasn't worked. It's April. April should be popping off. I should be getting a good nightly rate. Is anybody else in the same boat? The only thing I can think of that I've changed is I have made my cancellation policy more strict. Just because I had so many cancellations last year, that really screwed me over. But I also changed the cancellation policy at my other Airbnb, and it's doing just fine. The Airbnb still has been breaking even, which is good, but I'm not doing Airbnb to break even. If I was okay with just breaking even, I would turn it into a long-term rental and save myself a ton of work, which is what I'm thinking about doing. So my plan is to just keep it on Airbnb for the summer, the busy season, make the most money I can from that, and kind of see how it goes. Maybe bookings will pick up. I'm open-minded to either option. My Airbnb is in its flop era.
And this comment from this video is something I want to highlight before I give my closing remarks. I don't normally comment on these things, but I haven't seen this opinion yet. And it's the opinion of most people that I know, so I thought I'd share. I feel like people have lost a lot of trust in Airbnb. The prices have gone up. A lot of people have had negative rental experiences. And if you give someone a bad rating, it also affects your rating as a renter on the website and the ability to rent. The last Airbnb we stayed at was decent, but there was a lot of dirt around the edges. When we left, the owners had a long cleaning list that they insisted that we do. Some of the things included were taking out the trash, sweeping, vacuuming, doing dishes, and the big kicker for us, doing at least 2 to 3 loads of laundry before we leave. This was not an issue because we were on vacation and not spending a lot of time at the rental house and struggled to have time to run at least 2 loads of laundry through the washer and dryer before we had to be out by 11 a.m. The place was definitely way cleaner than when we came in, and it didn't feel like a vacation at all because we were cleaning as much as when we were at home. The place before it, that we did all the dishes and took the trash out, but somehow missed the instructions that all the sheets had to be taken off of the beds and put in the laundry baskets. So our family got a bad rating. Frankly, with elevated costs and all around crazy requirements, it makes us wonder if we rather stay at a hotel where they take care of everything for you. It doesn't feel like a vacation when you have to work your tail off cleaning. My closing remarks. This was one review with no details, and Emma went to the internet to talk about this minuscule thing that was weeks away from happening. She tried to get the guests to cancel because she would have to pay. There's a good chance that the guests saw the post, either the first update or the second update. Put yourself in this guest's shoes. How would you feel if you came across a post that a host was panicking over you staying at their place? You wouldn't like that. Then it's almost like she's gleeful that the guest has canceled and she doesn't have to pay or take the punishment of the house showing lower in search results. She lost $1,900 because of her panic. And that's not chump change, especially in this economy. The location is not getting enough bookings for Emma and her husband to make a profit, and they were about to be paid close to $2,000. And these videos are low-key marketing videos for her Airbnb. She's showing what she leaves for guests, how she has so many different things for guests. She even has a baby seat in one of the closet with baby toys. Like, she's showing all the amenities that she has, all the hard work her and her husband do to keep the place tidy and looking good for their guests. So these videos are not just, oh, let me start TikTok. Low-key marketing videos for your Airbnb. People are gonna think, oh, if I'm going to Wilmington, that's the place I would want to stay at. These videos are low-key marketing for her rentals, and this is how she presented herself online. The first video was okay. We understand it. But the update was just not it. Because you saying dang it because you're hoping that the knowledge of one of the amenities not being available during her stay will make her quit, make her cancel, and saying dang it. It doesn't leave a good taste. Not everything needs to be posted on the internet. Not everything needs to be used as content. You might cut off your nose to spite your face. But I'm Dusty Fines, and this is it for me. Tell me, are you firmly on Emma's side that it was a 1-star guest, so she had the right to panic the way she did and make the videos? Or are you somewhere in the middle like me, that okay, the first video, not really into it. I can see her point, but the second video felt icky. Or are you on the camp that both videos are just not a good look? Well, I'm Jessie Fines. Please subscribe, hit that notification button. I would like to leave you off with a few words. I don't know why I said it like that, but I hope that during your day, whenever you're watching this, that you receive light, luck, love, and positivity in your life, because you being here, you watching the end of this video, you even clicking on this video has brought me love, light, luck, and positivity, and you have no idea how grateful I am for that. So I really want to see you around, so please hit that subscribe button so we can hang out again in the next video. Bye.